And I feel like nowadays, as an influencer or creator, you have to be authentic. You have to show your life and your personality. But in a way, I'm like, do you? It's also so cool, the people that just leave a certain magic behind their content. I actually don't know anything about you, but your content is so incredible, so you crave for more. Sometimes I do miss that.
Welcome back to The Materialist. I am Marc Bridge, the founder and CEO of At Present, Matchmaker to Extraordinary Jewelry, and I am your host. Today, I have the great pleasure of sitting and chatting with Laura Herbert of travel and style and social media acclaim, who I had the pleasure of meeting a few years ago while we were on vacation in Mexico and ended up sitting next to her at a dinner and struck up a conversation and has since become a wonderful friend. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Marc. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm very excited.
Oh, it's such a delight. To start with, maybe give our listeners an idea of who you are, where you come from, and what you do.
So I'm half of what I would call creator couple, Laura and Nicholas. So Nicholas unfortunately couldn't be here today. But yeah, I guess we're what you call content creators, photographers, and we're originally from Belgium in Europe. We moved to New York about 3 years ago, but we still split our time. And as you said, like, we travel a lot. We are into fashion. We love combining fashion and travel, actually, and just being creative. We love photography. So I guess that's like our background and our interests. So we both run our Instagram together. And we actually, something that a lot of people don't know or sometimes don't see on our Instagram is that we actually have a photography business as well. So we do photography for luxury hotels all over the world. That's also where we met in Mexico at the Rosewood. We were actually shooting a campaign for the Rosewood. So yeah, I feel like that is what we do.
I feel like you have the job and the apparent lifestyle that if everybody in the world was going to put up a mood board and say, this is the platonic ideal of what I want my life to look like, they'd say, yeah, I want to travel around the world. I want to stay in beautiful places. I want to ask what that is actually like. But first, I want to ask, how did you do that? How did that come into being?
Yeah, so very interesting how it all started, because I guess nowadays people really decide, oh, I want to be a creator or I want to be an influencer. And it didn't really happen like that for us, to be honest. It was a little different when we started about 7-8 years ago. So I actually always wanted to travel. I was actually a little bit tired of my job. I was working in fashion, actually. And
doing what?
So I was actually on the wholesale side. So I was working in Belgium, in Antwerp, for different fashion brands. And so it was a very interesting job. It was good. But I always knew I wanted to travel the world. And I remember Nicholas and I were actually on a trip in Italy. And I told him, like, just over pizza and wine. And I was like, look, actually, I would love to travel a little bit. And I knew I always was going to regret it if we didn't do it, right? So we quit our jobs, sold everything, bought a ticket to Australia and Southeast Asia, and just traveled for 6 months. And that's when we started our account. In the beginning, I was like, okay, like, we need to be doing something while we travel. I loved photography. And of course, I was following some really incredible accounts in the travel and fashion industry. And I was like, okay, let's just start an Instagram. Let's start a page together where we just showcase our travels. And it really got picked up. I feel like maybe it was easier to grow back then. I don't know. But we met so many like-minded people. We met, of course, like a place like Bali. It was like full of digital creators. Now maybe a little bit too much. But like back then we met some really interesting people and who told us, like, look, like, you really have an eye for this. You really can do something with this. And at that time, like, just staying at a hotel for free or getting a free product sound like music in my ears, right? I was like, wow, like, you really get to stay somewhere for free. Or it was like a new world opening up almost. And we were like, okay, let's decide to really invest in this and build our Instagram. And so we did. And I guess we had a lot of posts that went viral, got reposted, because back then you had a lot of these repost accounts that had millions of followers. And that's how we actually grew our account. And then after traveling for 6 months, we even got like lots of hotels reaching out and be like, hey, do you want to stay with us? We love your photography. And back then at the time, we were heavily focused on like travel. And yeah, that's like after 6 months, we were like, okay, what are we going to do? Are we, because the plan was to get back into a normal job, right? It was like, okay, we travel for 6 months, we enjoy this time, we go back into a normal job.
Were you thinking about this like, all right, this is going to be a sabbatical, this is a vacation?
It was literally like, okay, we're going to travel for 6 months. And just because I said, I am going to regret this otherwise, I was like, okay, once we get further into our career, we're not going to do this anymore. No one takes off 6 months just randomly. But at that time, I was like 24, 25. So it's like, okay, we're still in the very beginning of a career. Like, this is when we need to be doing this. But yeah, so we went back to Belgium and we told our parents, like, no, we're not coming back. We're like, they all thought we were crazy. They're like, you cannot make money of this. This is not real. And then we said, look, we know many people who are very successful and actually make way more than in a normal 9-to-5 job. So at that time, we were really not making any money. And still we decided, okay, what's the worst that can happen? We were like, okay.
We can make less.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, okay, like we're break even right now. Like our travels like get funded. But we were not making any money. But we're like, okay, let's give this like another 6 months or something and see what we can do and really treat it as a business. So that's what we did. So we were like, okay, started reaching out to brands, like trying to like get paid for our work. And slowly we were getting there. It just took a very long time. But I feel like after a year, we were like making as much as we did at our 9-to-5. And then like we just grew from there. And then we obviously changed from like our really heavily travel account, which is, if you look at 2018, even like the biggest fashion influencer, I feel they were all doing travel. So many people like Leonie Han even, which is like such a big fashion creator, one of the biggest at the moment. She was so much into travel. I feel like that's how a lot of accounts started, and then they slowly ventured more into the fashion or lifestyle. So that's what we did as well. Definitely with my background in fashion, Nicholas was also in marketing and events. So yeah, so then we like started combining really fashion and more like editorial photography, but in like really cool places. We were shooting like beautiful clothes in the Maldives or like in Morocco, and that's how we got to combine like the passion for travel and the passion for fashion and like combine that, which was really great.
Do you have a sense for why it worked? Was it just, that you happened to get lucky and the algorithm gods shined on you? Or
I don't know. I think
that there's again, to the point of lots of people want to do this and lots of people try.
Yeah, I guess.
Obviously, your aesthetic is extraordinary and it's better and more refined the more that you've done it.
But yeah, I think it's always two things, right? Like it's never really 100% luck, I always say. It's a lot of dedication and like posting every day. I think the first 2 or 3 years, we never missed a day of posting. But like not a single day. Like even when we were in a different time zone, we would sometimes wake up in the middle of the night because it was the best time to post. We would set our alarm at 2 a.m. to post, which is, if I look back at it now, it's ridiculous, but it's also what got me here, right? Or got us here. And I think we definitely also had, or still have, the advantages of being a couple, which I feel like there are so many like girls, like women accounts out there. There's not a lot of couple accounts. I feel like they are obviously like creators that are couples, but don't treat like really have a couple account, which I feel like is definitely an advantage for us. And back in the day as well, there were just not a lot of couples around. So I feel like we definitely, that's one of the reasons why we were more successful. And then, I don't know, I think we also just tried finding our own style, because I feel it's very easy to just copy what everyone else is doing, right? It's the same when we started doing these couple fit checks, which I know now it's a thing, so I can use the word. But when we started doing couple fit checks, no one was doing it. There were a few girls that I saw doing it, very cute, but not a single couple I saw was doing a fit check. It was not even a word back then. And so we always tried to be like a little bit ahead of the game. And when we saw a lot of people were doing the same stuff, we were like, try doing something new. That's what we still do, honestly. It's still, we really try every time. I feel like every few months we're like, okay, I feel like a lot of people are doing the same thing we're doing. What are we gonna do to be different? Just to be like different than other people, because no one wants to follow what everyone else is already doing. But also to get back to like your previous question, because I feel like I didn't answer it, where you said a lot of people look at our lives and think, oh, I want that life. In reality, it's incredible what we can do. And I love our life. I love our job, being our own boss, being creative every day. But it is also nonstop. And I have been burned out for sure over the past few years. Sometimes where I just want to go live on an island and not be on social media at all. Especially staying in all these beautiful places, it looks like a vacation. It's our job to make it look like a vacation, but it just really is not. I feel like we never really feel like we're on vacation anymore, which is sad. The only times we can actually do that is when we really are or go to a place where we have to switch off, where we're like, okay, there's no internet connection, let's go. Because then you force yourself to disconnect and really treat it as a holiday rather than work. Because it's every time you see something nice or beautiful, you want to capture it, you want to shoot it. It's hard to be like, this is an incredible landscape. It would look great as a backdrop to shoot something. And then be like, but we're not going to shoot it. It's really hard to say that. Yeah.
Is there I don't know if the word is banality, but if you are just constantly surrounded by so much beauty and so much sybaritic pleasure, at some point, does it just become nothingness?
I wouldn't say nothingness. Like, I really appreciate everything that we have, everything we do, all the places we go to. But I have to say, indeed, sometimes Nicholas and I really have to tap each other on the shoulder and be like, hey, like, look where we are. Let's just sit down for a second and just appreciate where we are and like think of like how far we've come, and we've dreamed of this. But I feel like a lot of people fall into this trap of they always want more and they always like want to work harder, and like they don't think about like this what we have today is what we dreamed of so many years ago. So we really try to be like very aware of that. But I do have to say, like, it is very true that, like, for example, we arrive at an incredible hotel and we can still be like, this is not it. Like, it's not aesthetic. It's not great. And especially when we travel with friends, like, we often bring people, like my parents sometimes even, which is one of the most amazing things, that we get to bring the people we love to experience some extraordinary things. Like, we brought my parents on safari, for example, and then for them, they can arrive and be like, wow, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been. And Nicholas and I could be like, that's not what we expect. And then I feel so stupid. But it does happen for sure. You start taking things for granted.
And that just is. How do you think about that?
No, like I said before, like I feel like it's just very important to just make yourself aware of where you are and what you have and appreciate it. And we 100% do. I guess it's just a more like, it's the same like people earning more money and have a better lifestyle. And you always want more, right? Like, you stop like fully appreciating what you already have. And I always tell Liz, when we fall into that trap, let's remember where we started. We loved traveling. We had this incredible passion, and now we get to do this for a living. So we just really try to tell each other that and be like, let's be aware of how incredible it is, where we are, what we get to do, the brands we get to work with, because that as well. I've been talking a lot about all the travel stuff and the hotel photography, but also the fashion, like the brands we work with are brands that we could only dream of working with. If someone would have told me like 8 years ago, oh, you'll be working with Ralph Lauren or Tiffany & Co., I would be like, what? Yeah, no, we try to be very appreciative of that. Yeah, 100%.
To the ceaselessness of it, you were saying, all right, for years we were posting every single day. Do you feel sometimes like you're a slave to the algorithm, and that if you take a day off that, you're going to miss something?
100%, but I feel like we definitely got better at it over time, because you also realize you cannot keep like being a slave of indeed the algorithm. You also need to live a life and just enjoy your life. And especially having a daughter, like having a child now, makes you put things more in perspective. It's okay, life goes by so fast, and it's okay, we really need to enjoy where we are and like really take the time to just live a life, and don't just care about posting all the time. Although it obviously is our job, so it's really hard to have that balance, right? Where it's our life basically is our work. Because it's like you showcase your life and everything you do is content, basically. So we really had to find like a balance in that. And I feel like we still let numbers sometimes heavily affect our mood, especially my mood. Nicholas is better at that because he's always, I think maybe it's a manly thing, I don't know, where he's okay, it goes an up and down, like you know that, and it will get better after a dip. But still, like for me, it affects my mood, and then I'm like, this is so ridiculous that I let an algorithm basically affect my mood, and then I try to disconnect sometimes instead of oversharing or overposting, where I'll be like, okay, I just need to take a step back and get inspired again. Because sometimes I feel like going offline and then indeed not posting for a few days is sometimes better than just sharing stuff that you like actually is not good. So I feel like we definitely became more, okay, quality over quantity, whether in the past to grow, like you definitely also need the quantity. But yeah, like I feel like I hear that with a lot of people in the beginning, you have to, you don't have a choice if you want to make it, if you want to grow. Now I feel, okay, we've proven ourselves already. Of course, we would love to have many more followers, but I also want to enjoy life and I don't want to become a slave of our own work. It's not good for our relationship either, because working together with your partner is definitely not easy. And you don't have to put too much pressure on yourself all the time.
Tell us about that. Tell us how you and Nicholas met and what has the journey been like of doing this together?
So Nicholas and I we met back in Belgium, where we're from, in our hometown at a wine bar. And we honestly just started talking, and we haven't spent a day apart ever since. And I'm serious when I say we haven't spent a day apart. Like, we literally are always together, which is crazy to some people.
Is it to you?
No, we're so used to it. Like, we are one basically now. Like, we're so used to it. Like, I cannot imagine it any way else. It's very strange. But yeah, it is definitely difficult sometimes working with your partner, because as I said, everything blends together, like your work, your life. It's not that it's okay, we're working or shooting from 9 to 5 because what is there an incredible sunset that we need to shoot? We need to go to an event in the evening. There's always something going on, and a last minute campaign coming in that we have to shoot by tomorrow. Like, there's always stuff going on. So it's really hard to switch off and be like, let's not talk about work tonight. It's almost impossible. But then again, I look at other people who like live next to each other because they have a completely different life. And then in the evening, they talk to each other about work as well, but like about their own jobs. And there's no right or wrong. I feel like it depends on what works for you and what you look for in a relationship or in your life. For us, it has been working really well, to be honest. And we are so different. Nicholas is honestly not creative at all. I'm like the creative, but I'm also like the one who's messy. Nicholas is the organized one. And I feel like...
What does creative mean? Because that means different things to different people.
True. I feel like for us, it's like I'm the one who will come up with the creative idea behind like the photo. Like, I'll be like, okay, like this is the mood board. This is what we're going for. This is the style. And Nicholas is, let's say, more the one who'll be like, okay, this is... Wait, let me think how I can say this. Nicholas will be more like the behind the scenes, where he's the one who does like all the emails. He will organize our life, basically. He'll also do the time management, because I can do 10 different things in a day, where Nicholas, no, we can only tackle these 2 things, do these 2 shoots. We're going to shoot this in the morning, this in the evening. He's very good at that. I'm absolutely not good at that. But then again, Nicholas would never be able to come up with a lot of like the ideas for campaigns that we do. But then again, he's a great photographer, definitely. So it really is indeed, as you said, like
That's why I ask about creativity, because I was going to say my sense is that he is generally the one who is composing behind the lens, and just the different flavors of creativity.
Yeah, I guess so. He will always say he's not creative, but maybe you're right. Maybe I should start saying that he actually is creative. Yeah, I guess it's just in a different way. And because also when it comes to fashion, he has an incredible sense of style, because it's so funny because a lot of people always ask us, how do you get Nicholas to dress like that? I don't. I never have. He has a great sense of style, to the point where I ask him, can I wear these shoes with this bag? And he'll be like, absolutely not, or yes. Like it's incredible. No, his sense of style is amazing. He has parents as well who has an incredible style, so I guess he got it from them. I don't know. So he's definitely creative in that way as well. So I guess you're right. I guess the only thing we can say is I'm not organized at all. No. He's very good at all that. Yeah, we're in balance. We work well together, because imagine if we both would be unorganized and messy, that would not make a great fit.
And so tell us how the business works. How do you plan? Do you think about this a quarter at a time? Are you planning things a year from now? It seems just lots of different things in parallel. Where am I 100%. Going to be? What am I promoting? What does that look like?
I honestly think I can talk 2 hours about this, just because there is so much I can say about behind the scenes of all this.
I just like imagining the war room in your house, putting all the pieces together.
It is probably the most difficult part about our life, is indeed like trying to fit all the puzzle pieces together, especially indeed because we do combine, and we want to combine, the traveling part with the fashion. It makes it also hard logistically. Some brands don't want to ship outside of the US even, or they don't want to ship to South Africa, where we want to shoot a campaign on safari, and it's very difficult. So what we try to do is we try to make a plan of the places every year, in the beginning of the year. Okay, these are the places this year that we would love to travel to and shoot at. And then we try to fit work for hotels that we want to work for there, and fashion brands to combine that we're like, okay, that would work so well on this location. So that's like what we start with. But then, of course, you have campaigns coming in, and then our plans change completely. So we often then still have to move things around, but we still try to stick to these are the destinations that we want to do. But then we can have, let's say, we had a campaign for St. Regis back in June, and we were like, okay, 2 days or 3 days before, it's like, you need to fly to like Punta Cana. And we're like, whoa, we were like in Europe. And we're like, okay.
Those are close, no problem.
No, it's no problem, of course. But it's like those things can come in and literally, okay, in 3 days you need to be there. And then you obviously have to sometimes change your plans and fly across the world. And then your plans completely change because, okay, we were in Europe, we'll be in Punta Cana. Okay, let's squeeze in a few days in New York as well, because might as well go back to New York for a couple of days, get some work done or shoot for other brands. And then it just completely changes again. So
And so how did that come up? I want to use that as a kind of case study. So you have a relationship with St. Regis, and you've pitched them at some point about saying, hey, we'd love to do something for you.
To be honest, a lot of things just started very organically with brands. Where, for example, St. Regis, we worked with St. Regis, I think, after 6 months of our like big world trip back in 2018. So they're actually one of the first hotels we ever worked with. They were not paying us. It was for their hotel in the Maldives. And we were just so happy to be working with them. We were like, wow, this is incredible. We can shoot for St. Regis in the Maldives. This is incredible. And back then we were not getting paid at all, but they just saw our work, right? They saw our work. We worked for another St. Regis after that as well. And I guess because it started organically, then they started reaching out for paid opportunities and paid campaigns, right? And yeah, now we obviously have management as well, who I feel like I'm jumping to all these different subjects and things. But anyway, so we have a manager, like an agent, who like takes care of all our negotiations and like talks with the brands. Yeah, so I guess St. Regis indeed reached out to them and was like, hey, we love Laura Nicholas's work and we would love to have them in for this campaign. So that's usually how it works. And then they will negotiate and see if we can all get on like the same page and be like, if the budget is right, if the scope of work is right, if it fits our brand, because we obviously don't just take any job we get. It really needs to fit our brand as well, because otherwise like they will not benefit from it and us and our audience will not benefit from it, right? So we have to make sure that's a match. And then we just agree if if the offer is on the table, it's okay, we agree to do it or not.
And what does a partnership like that look like? All right, we want them to take pictures that then we're going to use in our organic media on our website. We want them to promote.
Honestly, it really depends on if it can take all these like many forms. And that's the same with brands, like other like fashion brands as well. No matter if it's a hotel or a fashion brand, it's just they will either want you to post on your social media. It can be TikTok, it can be Instagram, to promote the brand, but then they can indeed also want you to take photos for them to use, right? It's like more content creation for them that you don't necessarily need to post and that they can use. And then obviously you have also you also have different ways and they can use it. Like some of them will be like, okay, we're paying to use this on social media, or we're paying to use this on website, or even for paid ads. Obviously, like the budget will depend on it as well. Yeah, it's a very interesting world, right? Because like it can take all forms and every partnership is just so different. I guess some hotels or some brands want to work with us just for our photography work. And they'll be like, we don't care about their influence at all. We just want them as photographers and just create photos for us to use. And then you have brands who are like, we don't care about their photography. We just want to use their platform to spread awareness and to sell our brands. So yeah, it really comes in all scopes and forms, and so it's very interesting.
Have you found that what brand partners are looking for has changed over time?
Yeah, I think it's a very fast changing industry. And sometimes I even wonder, are we like at the peak of like influencer marketing? But I guess not, because it grows every day, every year. But yeah, and there are more creators than a couple of years ago. And I don't know, I guess brands all look for different things. And I guess it's just very important to just create your own branding and attract the brands that you want to work with. For example, for us, we're very like in the luxury segment. So both for hotels and fashion brands, we just try to create images and a branding that they would love to use, or that the kind of people that they want to work with, like the creators that they think of that were top of mind. But I feel like every brand is different and they look for different things. Some want to work with micro influencers, some want to have the ones with a big platform. I even know people who just get lots of jobs just because their aesthetic is just incredible and their engagement is so bad, but it's just because they have such an incredible branding and sense of style that every brand just thinks, oh, I want to work with that person because they just have an incredible sense of style. So I guess it really depends on the brand. Yeah, I'm not sure if that changed over the years. I think it also depends who's honestly like head of social media marketing at the firm, because we have seen that change a lot, where a brand has a certain way of working and then you get a new person in charge for social media marketing and then it completely changes. So I guess that depends as well. It's an ever-changing industry.
I've been reading a bunch recently. There's been a number of books recently about the rise and fall of Condé Nast. And there was I don't know if you've read that book, or Graydon Carter's book. I'm just thinking, as you're talking about how so much of what you do is what magazines used to do, which was to create a world that as a consumer I wanted to live in. And here are all of the things, here are the advertisers who will pay this off.
Yeah.
Is that a fair way of thinking about it?
I don't know. Like, I've always really loved magazines, and I think there was always something very magical about magazines and like the editorial stuff, and I always really loved it. And I don't know if I still find the same magic on social media, to be very honest. Sometimes I miss like...
What's the difference?
I don't know. I feel like there is something, and some people do it really well on social media, though, is like there's different things to be said about it. But one, I feel like there was some kind of mystery. And you saw this incredible photo shoot, and it's like reading a book versus like seeing the movie of it. It's like you have this own fantasy about this shoot, and there's something magical, right? And I feel like nowadays we have to be authentic, right? It's okay, as an influencer or creator, you have to be authentic. You have to show your life and your personality. But in a way, I'm like, do you? Like, it's also so cool, the people that just leave a certain magic behind their content. I actually don't know anything about you, but your content is so incredible, so you crave for more. And I feel like magazines are really good at creating that kind of magic. And yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I do miss that. And I feel, yeah, there's definitely influencers who do it like really well. Yeah, I feel like nowadays, obviously, the fun thing about social media and with Substack recently as well, there is definitely something for everyone. And you can definitely, whether like magazines were more like just pushing anything into the world, and it was obviously very limited. Now you can go into so many small niches, and people who love very specific things, they will find their creators and get inspired. So there's, like I said, there's something to be said about both. Yeah, I don't know. I still miss like the old days of like good magazines. And honestly, to continue into this, I feel like Instagram also definitely changed. Even us, sometimes I miss like how the platform was a couple of years ago, where I feel like people were shooting way more editorial. They taught way more about like compositioning. Everything was shot at a professional camera. It was very different. And I feel like nowadays, even us, I had this conversation actually with Nicholas a couple of days ago, where I'm like, I miss like the old Instagram, where people really wanted to create magazine-like images. Now it's, okay, you need to be real. You need to do a photo dump where you just show your life, and it needs to be like
look, I ate a
unedited.
crouton. Oh yeah, that's fascinating.
Exactly. And we fell into that trap as well. Like, we started doing more photo dump, showing more of our real life. But I do think, is there a way to go back a little and be a little bit more editorial again? Because we would love to, because that's our passion. But yeah, somehow it's like, I don't know, we got pushed into the direction of you need to be like real. But do we? Like,
well, it's such an interesting question. And obviously the algorithm drives the behavior because incentives are powerful. But there has been this move toward quote unquote intimacy, right? I feel like I know you, and then you feel like you need to give me something. How do you think about that relationship with the audience? Is it, you are not Ansel Adams, who is, all right, I'm going to take a picture of the moonrise here.
I think it's very interesting indeed, as we talked about before we started recording. It's very interesting how people do feel like they know us. And in a certain way, they do. But if you think about the amount of like how short your content, maybe it's like a reel of a minute or whatever of your day, but like a day consists of 24 hours. So I feel like they can only, even if you show a little bit of your life, they will only know just a little bit, because there's so many parts of our life as well that we don't show. We usually don't like to show our family, let's say, for example, or like very personal stuff. I know there are people who do that. We just consciously, like, we try not to, because there's a part of our life that needs to be offline just for our own like mental health, I guess. But it is interesting how whenever we meet people on the street and they come up to us, they know so much about us and our lives. They know, oh, you had a difficult birth, or I'm like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's normal, because I said that's true. It's, oh, I loved your interior in your house, or whatever it might be. It's so interesting how they really feel like they know you. But I think for them, it's also hard to understand, like, we don't know them. We're not strangers to them, although we actually are, but they are strangers to us. Like we don't know them. We don't know where they're from. We don't know. Yeah, it's a very interesting world. And I love that people come up to us and chat. We actually made some of our bestest friends that way. So yeah, so there's something very positive about it. But it is interesting how people know your life and feel like they know you. Yeah, for sure.
Is Laura and Nicholas a character that is different than Laura and Nicholas, the human beings?
Actually, not really. But there are just more layers to us than what we show on social media. I guess that's one way to put it. Like, we're definitely like us. We are not like playing a persona or like whatever on social media. We actually love traveling. We actually like love fashion and style and all that for sure. But I feel like obviously people don't know your personality completely. They don't see all the breakdowns that you can have, or the burnouts, or the crying sometimes. Or there's just so much more behind our
being a human being.
Exactly. It's just like we're human beings, just like everyone else. We have ups and downs. We have problems. We have like family members that are sick, or like what. Everyone has stuff going on that you just don't see on social media. But having that said, we definitely are who we are online. And that's why I actually love people who do YouTube. We used to do it actually, because that's, for me, the only way to give people a little more of your personality, because it's long form. It's way longer than just like a short video or a photo. But yeah, no, we're definitely the people that we show to be. Yeah, for sure. We're just more fun in real life. I think because we're so serious sometimes in our photos.
Yeah.
A lot of people tell us when they meet us actually in real life, they're like, you guys are so kind and you're so nice. I'm like, what did you think? And that's very interesting because, yeah, I think because we're often very serious in our photos, that people think, oh, they're very serious people, which we're not.
As your family has grown since Gigi was born, how have you thought about the role that she is playing and how you model behavior for her in this somewhat unusual world in which you occupy?
It's such a difficult topic, right? Because I know people have like very different opinions about showing your kid online, right, these days. And I feel for us, it was always like, okay, she's part of our lives. Like, she is in our lives. So it's really hard to like completely cut her out. But we also always said we don't want our content to revolve around her. We don't want to show her constantly. It's just when she's there, okay, occasionally like she'll be in the picture. But we try not to do it like on purpose. So it's like more in an organic way that she is there. Yeah, we just try to do that. But yeah, it's really hard to just also pretend that she's not there when she is literally the biggest, most important thing in my life now. So yeah, it's really difficult because indeed, like when she gets older, I don't know how that's gonna go. But then again, when people always ask me, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm not sure if that's still a question, but we also didn't expect to be where we are today. If I look back 5 years ago,
ask me in 5 years, I'll have some idea of where I'm going to be tomorrow.
Exactly. So it's
Punta Cana with 72 hours notice. That's where I'm going to be.
No, exactly. And I feel like, yeah, so it's really hard indeed with Gigi. We don't know like how it's going to be. Are we still going to be creators as we are today, or is AI going to take over? No, so you don't know. So it's, as always, we are go with the flow kind of people. And I mean, it definitely didn't do anything bad to us. Like, it brought us to where we are today. So I just love following my intuition and not think too much or not overthink too much. It's also my parenting style, honestly. Like, we just take her everywhere she comes along and it works, and we try not to stress about it and just try to be chill about it. And yeah, it's the same indeed with Gigi being part of this social media story. We'll see how it goes. I don't know.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, 100%. It's something, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Like, how the way it's going now, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep doing it until you need to do something else, I think is really the best approach. Tell us about your style.
That's a, interesting one, because I feel for both Nicholas and me, it's like our style is definitely more classic, but we're the kind of people, we don't like to follow trends too much. When people ask me about what is your style, how can you describe your style, I think it's very difficult as I change a lot. I feel there are certain people who really stick to a style for a long time, but I feel I love playing around with style. I love playing around with fashion. It will never be like too crazy. It will mostly be like a little bit more classic, but I love to play around. There's just periods in my life, let's say in winter, I'm the kind of girl who really loves to wear just a full black outfit and just wear incredible jewelry or accessories to just spice up any simple outfit. But then in summer, I'll just play around a little bit more with colors, and I just love to have fun with it. I don't like to pinpoint a style, right? It's ever changing, to be honest, and depends on my mood. It depends on what we're doing. I love to adjust my style depending on the places we go to. That's something that I really love. If we go to Morocco, like my style will be completely different to what it is in New York, or let's say when I go on safari. I really love playing around with style depending on the destination we go to. And as I said, for me, accessories make the outfit. I'm a very like big statement jewelry kind of person. So I feel like my style is a little bit all over the place. I just love wearing stuff that I like. That's basically it. I don't want to wear something just because other people are wearing it. I just wear what I love. And I feel like people enjoy following us for that reason, where it's not like the same over and over. We get a lot of inspiration as well from, like I said, I love magazines, like from old magazines. I still have all my old Vogues, and I love getting inspiration from that, creating like runway looks from like the 80s or the 90s, or like getting inspiration from that. But yeah, as I said, never too crazy. It's never too crazy.
What was the last thing that you found that grabbed you, that captured your imagination? The last maybe accessory, piece of jewelry?
I found some really incredible like vintage earrings actually in a market in the south of France. Clip-on earrings, as most of my vintage pieces. They were like in the form of a flower with like different colorful pearls in the middle, and it's just such a beautiful piece, and it just makes every single outfit look incredible. And it's probably the piece that I've had like most questions about ever. And then when it comes to fashion, actually, like when we're talking about clothes, I don't know if you heard of the brand Bugeza. It's it's an incredible brand who's, I think honestly they're Dubai based. I'm not too sure, but they're definitely in the Emirates. And they just have these incredible pieces that indeed bring to life a certain, just something so chic, but so unique and so special. Like, they definitely deserve more like attention. And I feel like they're definitely trying to break more into the fashion industry in the US or in Europe. But like, their pieces, like if I wear one of those pieces, people just go crazy over it. It's so unique. It's so unique. And those are the pieces that I just love wearing. In one way, I'm the kind of girl who will wear just a Levi's jeans and a white t-shirt and go about my day. But then when I wear pieces like that, it just, it's just, it really brings a certain magic to life. Yeah, for sure.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask the best traveled person I know for recommendations on some of the best places you've traveled to recently. Hotels, locations. Where should everybody go next?
Oof.
Forget everybody else. Where should I go next?
Yeah,
let's personalize this. I need a travel concierge here.
For us, and I feel a lot of people who follow us, they know that because we're so passionate about it, is South Africa. South Africa, it is the best place, and we've been to a lot of places in the world. It is the best, most magical place in the world. It has everything. And It is very controversial when we talk about it because people are always like, but it's not safe. It's so dangerous. And I'm like, New York, Paris, London, they also have neighborhoods where you shouldn't go. And it's the same with South Africa. Yes, the country has its issues like every country, but the nature is incredible. You have the wildlife, right? You can go on the most incredible safaris. The people are so nice. The food, I cannot, like, people don't believe me when I say this because they think New York has the best food, but Cape Town has the best food in the world. It just has. And it's so diverse. You have the wine. We're both like very big into wine. We're huge wine lovers. I guess that's like our European background. I don't know. We drink a glass every day. European lifestyle. But yeah, no, we love our wines. They have incredible wines. So it is a country that just has everything. And the hotels are amazing. The hospitality is incredible.
Where should we go? Where should we stay when we get to South Africa?
We have actually two favorite places to go on safari. One place is Royal Maliwan. It is it's a super luxurious lodge, but it's so calm. It's so quiet. It's not like loud luxury or anything. No, like you arrive there and it's like a retreat. It's probably one of the only places where I actually cried when I had to leave. That's why we've been back 4 times already, because it's truly my favorite place in the world. And then we have Tswalu, which is actually in the Kalahari Desert. It is also a very unique safari experience. They care a lot about conservation. And yeah, some of these places are just incredible. And then if we talk about Cape Town has truly magical hotels as well. Ellerman House is one of our favorites. It has a stunning view. I can honestly, I should start a Substack because I've been wanting to start writing a Substack and I just don't find the time for it, where I give a little bit more of this travel advice, because I can talk about South Africa for ages. No, that's definitely our favorite place in the world. And Namibia is only 1 hour flight away. So I always tell people, if you make it that far to the other side of the world, make a little stop in Namibia as well, because the landscape in Namibia is just phenomenal. It's incredible. And also for us in terms of photography, there's something about the light on that side of the world. It just captures so nicely. There's a reason why a lot of fashion brands actually shoot their campaigns in Cape Town, just because the light is so phenomenal. It's unlike anything. Yeah, it's a feeling. It's hard to explain to people when they haven't been. Yeah. But I feel like I'm selling South Africa to everyone, and now it's getting too crowded in Cape Town. No, someday we would actually love to move there, actually. Yeah.
I was going to say, so what's next? I'm not going to ask the 5-year plan, but what's on the agenda for the rest of the year?
It's really hard to decide where we want to settle down eventually, because I feel like we're so used to having this exciting life of moving around constantly and seeing different places, and still splitting our time between New York and Europe in between all our travels. It's just super exciting. But of course, we have a daughter now, and we have to think about what are we going to do in terms of school? How do we see that in a couple of years? Where do we want to raise a kid? So then, we have to ask ourselves, where do we want to do that? And for us, South Africa, Cape Town is definitely on the list. But it also depends on the business, right? Because everyone knows New York is the place to be for business. It's what brought us here. It's why we're here. We love New York, but let's be honest, it's just the best place for business. But so what's next? We're actually just gonna stay put in New York now, I think, for the next couple of months, because in the creator industry, September until the end of the year is one of the biggest moments of the year. It's when people have, I guess, brands just need to divide their budget before the end of the year. I always tell people. No, but we
got goals to hit in Q4. Let's go.
Exactly. That's how it feels. And then bam, once October hits, it's we don't even know where to begin with the amount of campaigns. It's always a very busy time. But so I feel with the holidays and everything, Thanksgiving, all that. So we're just going to stay put here in New York. We actually had a little trip to Japan planned, but we're going to move that to next year just because we'll be too busy in New York. And that's what I said with planning our life, it just is always, it's ever changing. So yeah, we'll have to move things around so we can just stay in New York. And then for the new year, we haven't thought that far ahead yet, to be honest. We take everything step by step.
Till the next call comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
Laura, if people want to find you and Nicholas in the internet realm, where do you exist?
So on Instagram, you can find us under Laura and Nicholas. Same on TikTok, so that's very easy. That's where they can find us for all fashion and travel inspiration. Yeah.
For everything wonderful and a touch of intimacy.
Yeah, something like that.
Perfect. Laura Herbert, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me in the podcast.
A delight. That's it for this episode of The Materialist. If you like what you heard, please like, rate, and subscribe to The Materialist wherever you get your podcasts. The Materialist is a presentation of At Present, matchmaker to extraordinary jewelry. We'll see you next time.